So Nick, look, thank you very much for being interviewed.
No, it's my pleasure.
For those who may not know you, can you tell us just a bit about yourself, what you're doing at the moment, where you live, that kind of thing?
Yeah, okay. Well, my name's Nick Sumsky. I'm 22 years old. I live over at Seaforth, so not too far.
Sure.
I'm currently working at a dental practice as a front office coordinator, and sort of doing a little bit of dental assistant work there, just in between my studying.
Yeah, cool. Now, St. Stephen's, how long have you been at St. Stephen's for, and how did that all come about being at St. Stephen's?
Yeah, so it's been a fair few years now. So I started coming in 2012,
Hmm.
back when I was still at school. And the way it sort of came about is um, Emma Sargent. So I went to school with her in primary school, and we sort of caught up
Oh,
when I was in high school. And she said I should come along to the youth group, and I didn't really think much of it. But um, that particular Friday, I had nothing on, so I thought I would come along. I don't think she expected me to come along because she forgot to mention that youth was actually starting an hour later that week because there was a special event on. So
whoops.
yeah, but I rocked up anyway, and I was there at 6 p.m. So I got to meet all the leaders first, and
Good.
everyone was really welcoming, and then it started from there.
Fantastic. You would say you've become a Christian. What are some of the how has that changed your life in
That's a
25 words or less?
big question to
It
summarize,
is a
but
big question.
yeah, I would say something that I often think about is where I'd be if I wasn't a Christian.
Sure.
And I think if I never came along to youth group that one week and I never sort of pursued God, and I think I'd be in a very different space mentally and physically. I think I would have gone down a very different path in life,
Sure.
probably a bit darker one, to be honest.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, I don't know where I'd be, to be honest, but I know it definitely wouldn't be good
Mm,
necessarily.
mm,
I don't think I'd be, dire straits situation, but I think going to a um, the tertiary education. So I did studied music, and there are a lot of a lot of things go on there, and you see a
yeah.
lot of things, meet a lot of people, um, and you're sort of in that secular world very much so.
Mm,
So I think if I didn't have my faith, I would have probably gone down a very different path.
sure. Yeah. And I guess Nick, that leads into the next question. As a young man with a Christian faith in 2020, there are a lot of challenges for Christians. What have you found to be some of the challenges being a Christian for you in all the different environments you're part of?
Yeah, I think for a long time I struggled with um, almost living a double life in a sense. I
Yeah.
felt. I think when you sort of get put into so many different worlds and different environments, you might get split in a sense. Your personality will split. So I struggled with that for a fair few years, particularly when I was at university.
Sure.
Um, but I think the biggest struggle was probably being open about my faith with people, and because I feel there is a lot of people think a certain way about Christianity, and if you tell them you're a Christian, they will think differently of you because they've got a preconceived idea of what it means to be Christian.
Mm,
So they will think, okay, well, you're this sort of person. I don't really want to spend time with that sort of person, or I don't want to interact with you. Just okay, and they'll sort of, and that will affect relationships, um, sort of just these different environments, so work environments, uni environments, and I feel I've experienced this in many different ways.
mm,
Um, and it took me a while to get used to that. But I guess the best thing I ever did was sort of give it to God. And I think a
yeah.
big part of that was instead of worrying so much about what other people think, be strong in my faith, and then God will bring the right people to me through that.
Sure.
Um, but I think that's probably the biggest struggle. And I still, to this day, I have close friends who are atheists. I have close friends who are Buddhists, different religions, and
Yeah.
and I think even now when I mention, oh, I've got to go to church, I've got to do music at church, or I've got to do youth group on Friday night, and they say, oh, out and come out drinking with us. I say, I can't do that. And they say that they seem to be really surprised by that and shocked. And I think, yeah, so it's been a bit of a struggle in that sense, but
Sure.
overall, I've come to a point where I'm comfortable in that. I'm comfortable in my faith, and I'm comfortable to say, this is what I'm doing on a Friday night, or this is what I'm doing on Sunday.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, look, that's really good, Nick. And look, thanks for being so open about talking about those things. They're very real things, and I guess as you'll find out, it doesn't ever end. that challenge. Thanks for being honest. Thanks for taking the time to talk. And I'm looking forward to seeing you maybe in the morning sometime again to play. It'd be great.
Yeah, no, I'd love that.
Oh, it's always good.
Okay.
So thanks very much, Nick. Good on you.
No, thank you, Andrew.
Cheers.